I like this better than the peach.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it the strawberry or the apricot that does it for you?
It's a strawberry.
Good. What is an apricot actually? Like, who eats just an apricot?
Do you not eat, do you say apricot or apricot?
I think apricot. But every time I say it...
I don't think that there's a right or wrong way to say it. I don't know.
Well, do you say coupon or coupon?
Coupon. I don't know. It sounds wrong now. Now you're all in my head.
The correct answer is coupon. Coupon is for old ladies from the Midwest.
Gotcha. Well, welcome to Bear Attack.
Coming out of the gate with strong opinions.
Yes, we're in Polar Bear's trailer.
Hi.
And Polar Bear's wife, Claire Bear, is cleaning a spatula, and the dogs are watching her do so. And that's why you hear generator humming. I like it. I like the natural podcast sound.
Yeah, it's the tranquility of the woods with luxury of power.
Glamping. And you might hear us sipping on some summer edition Red Bulls because it's officially summer.
Officially summer.
It is Pride Month.
Is it?
Well, it will be when this comes out.
Oh.
It's like in 4 days, it will be...
June's Pride Month? I thought February was Pride Month.
Yes. Where we let you all have your month.
Wait, February is Black History Awareness Month, right?
Yeah.
Isn't there Pacific Islanders Month now? Just a day.
I know.
Ridiculous.
The queers get a whole month. So we'll have to see.
Well, that's queer.
What if we what we leave in and what we cut out. So, but because it's Pride Month, we're going to talk about our favorite lesbians, Ellie and Dina from The Last of Us.
At best, one of them is my favorite lesbian. The other one's annoying.
You don't like Dina?
She put the whole mission at risk.
So, I've been wanting to do this since the game came out in 2020, and it has been 2 years, and I haven't played the game since then. So this is going to be a train wreck.
I am mid playthrough right now. I just got to the abandoned movie theater.
Your second playthrough?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's complicated. It's sort of the third, but it's truly the second. It's complicated.
Fair. I played a little bit with Polar Bear a couple months ago. Yeah. The Last of Us Part 2. I don't know if we said that. Yeah, we said The Last of Us, but the second one.
Yeah.
I have notes on my phone that I'm going to bring up from when we were going to do this in 2020.
Oh gosh. I was Android back then.
We'll see if I can make heads or tails out of it. Hey, like Amy, could you not?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure this out.
Amy, you have a perfectly good cloth koozie right there.
My body.
What is that thing?
It's a
Koozie.
koozie that holds bottles, cans, and it's also just a tumbler cup.
That's hilarious.
Without the can.
You gotta put the rubber dealy bopper like so far on the neck of the can.
So I'll say this: those of you who don't know, Bear Attack is a podcast divided politically. None of us are in the same political party, which is, I think, good.
I'm in no party.
That's right. That's the good part. I think Polar Bear's the most based out of all of us.
Yeah. Fuck the government. Both sides.
But I would agree, except for one side actually lines up with my values. But I'm like, I'm very right wing, and which is why Panda Bear's not on this episode, because we don't need it. No, I'm just kidding. Panda Bear's on vacation, having a lot of fun, hopefully, and he doesn't like video games. So we were going to have my cousin Jared fill in with us. I don't know why I'm telling everyone this. Anyway, that's why there's only two of us today.
So that they know that they're missing out on the personality that is Jared.
This is the quality content you're not getting.
Although I feel like you're missing a lot of Jared's personality if you can't see how sunburned he is all the time.
True. That's fair. So I break from my like political leanings on this game pretty hard. Like, a lot of people kind of wrote the game off as woke trash, and I couldn't disagree more. I'm sure we'll talk about that a lot. But
I mean, it's pretty woke, but it's not woke about them being gay. them being gay is actually a small part of the game.
Yeah.
It's a revenge story through and through.
It feels pretty natural to me. That was the thing leading up to the game was Neil Druckmann, the game designer and head writer, was saying how the first Last of Us was about love and the second one was about hate. And my last playthrough of The Last of Us before Part 2 came out, I was like, if this game is about love, the second game is gonna be rough.
And it was.
It was pretty... It's... So, people like to talk about the game. They always bring up this thing where they never really used the word fun while they were developing the game. And people like to use that as a big own about it. Like, yeah, the game sucks because they didn't even make it to be fun. I feel like if you're in for like a really deep, good story, the game, I think it is fun, and it doesn't have to be like built around like, it doesn't need to be Uncharted to have a good time. But it is also like, it's a grown-up game where if you want to sit there and think about life and your feelings and the meaning of existence, this is that kind of game.
I'm here to see a little lesbian that has gone through some brutal life situations get revenge for her not dad that she loves but kind of doesn't, but also does a lot, that she can't figure it out.
Yeah, it's a...
I'm here for her struggle.
It's a coming-of-age story where it's very realistic in that the main character doesn't make the right decisions like any real person in her place would.
Yeah.
And we'll get into all that, but...
I'll give it 3 fingers on my left hand up.
So my first note that jumps out to me is there's no pallets in this game. For those of you who were...
No pallets.
Yeah, in the first game there's like...
Oh, because she learns to swim!
Yes! In the first game, there's a gameplay mechanic which was horrible, and it was not fun.
It was very cumbersome.
I'm sure in the first game where they used the word fun in development, somehow the pallets snuck through, where you would have to go find a wooden pallet to get Ellie on and float her.
I have a theory about the wooden pallet. I think they needed more puzzles because the game was a little too sneak through, kill this, do that. They needed a puzzle that was gotta figure this out.
Naughty Dog games are never... The gameplay mechanics are never that great.
Yeah.
Naughty Dog is a story
But
developer.
Also, I think they needed Ellie to depend on Joel more for the game to work. For, the characters to work.
That's kind of fair. But...
Because the first time you do the pallet, Joel is ah!
I always hated them.
Yeah, and then the last time you do the pallet, he's like, alright, I got it already. Hop on.
I'm pretty sure a pallet couldn't hold a 14-year-old girl in the water either.
No. Definitely not.
Yeah. So it's just...
But, zombie physics. Maybe it's a zombie pallet. It floats better.
I think it is the absolute worst part of The Last of Us, is the pallets.
I mean, if that's the worst part, I think it only comes up 3 times in the whole game.
It is my second favorite video game of all time. I absolutely love The Last of Us. My first being Shadow of Mordor, because it's just so much fun to play.
Nerd?
Yeah. Yeah. But the new palettes are the guitars. You gotta go find the guitars and play them, which... I kind of thought the little guitar mini games were fun.
I have seen people do such incredible things with the stupid guitar mechanic of the PS4 and 5. Yeah.
Well, and don't you strum it with the touchpad?
Yeah. So you can actually fingerpick too if you figure out the, because it's this size and it shows it you on the screen where you do. So I've seen people fingerpick.
That's what I really want to see on the PS5 is to get the controller the most out of it. Whereas the PS4, there was very few games that ever used any of the motion sensor on the controller or the touchpad.
I'm afraid of the motion sensor because if I get too into it, I don't want to huck my expensive controller into my expensive TV.
Have you ever played Until Dawn?
Is that the one where it's a zombie fighter and you're in a mall?
No, it's like a horror movie that you play through, and your actions. All of the characters in it can survive the night alive in one piece, but if you don't do everything right, then people die.
Sounds awesome.
Oh, it's so fun. But there's parts where something will be hunting you, and you have to just hold the controller still, and you the light bar on the DualShock 4.
Mm-hmm.
It has like a graphic of that with like a line showing where you are. And like if you start drifting over, you're like, oh no, you like try to bring it back, but if you do it too quickly, then it will like sense the like movement and your person will get eaten.
I love that.
It's so good. I love it. It's a kind of a janky game, but it's also like it's a must play Until Dawn.
I want more VR games. I want that walking platform for the VR to be good and to be like more affordable.
VR is so weird.
I want it to be so good.
It like tricks your brain into accepting it as reality.
Okay, wild tangent. I saw this VR game where you can like customize your own guns in it, like in any way you can. You just have to find a way to connect it and it'll work. And a guy made, instead of a grenade launcher on his M16, he hooked a claymore.
That sounds like it would be a very bad day.
He went through and like reviewed it, and he was like shooting. He's like, it doesn't really add any weight to the gun. It actually helps with recoil. And then he went into a mission and like set it off. Like instead of a bayonet charge, he did a claymore charge.
Oh my gosh,
it was awesome. VR is the next level.
It's pretty crazy, dude.
Or Keep Talking and Nobody Dies. Love that game.
Real? What's
It's a bomb defusal game.
Okay.
So one of you... Okay, first off, you're going to have to, like, make a membership at Kinko's or a printing place. Because they send you a PDF of the manual.
Uh-huh.
But it's easier if you can print it out and put it in a binder. And it's like a 3-ring binder worth of paper.
Oh my gosh.
So one of you has the headset, the VR set on, and the controllers. And only you can see what's on the bomb. And you have to describe it to the person with the manual.
That sounds incredible.
Yeah, and so you have to describe it the best you can. And they have to find what it is. And they can tell you how to defuse each piece. But you're on a timer.
Gosh. That sounds like a lot of fun.
So if you have the manual, your job is to listen and confirm and like try to listen, figure out what they're saying and get more information from them. And if you're the person with the headset trying to do the bomb, you have to describe things as efficiently as possible. And you only have like 5 minutes to do some of these bombs. There's like 4 sections.
Oh my gosh.
It's awesome.
It's, the worst day of some people's lives makes for really good entertainment.
Yeah. Well,
like
there's
The Last of Us.
There's a YouTube video of 2 professional bomb disposal techs doing it.
Uh-huh.
It is amazing.
That's fun. I'll have to look that up. Keep talking and no one dies.
Yeah. All that to say, VR The Last of Us would probably give me nightmares and PTSD.
As it should. It really should. Like, if it doesn't, then your humanity's kind of gone. In a way.
Yeah, like if I had to see a clicker actually in my face instead of just pushing square to knock them off Ellie, I had to like do something to get them off me. I think I would need new drawers.
Yeah? Yeah? No, for sure.
Or if not a bloater. What are the like smallish bloaters? That like lean over and explode on you.
The lurkers. I can't remember. Okay, so let's talk about those. How did you feel as that being like the new kind of enemy?
Terrified.
I didn't like them that much.
I hate them.
I kind of feel like it was kind of lame. Like they could have done something more. Interesting.
They're too easy to beat, but they're also too difficult to get around.
They are. I was never able to stealth past them.
No, you just throw fire at them until they're dead.
Yeah.
That's it.
But
that's all you need to do is like just huck a Molotov.
They did ruin the flow of the game in just the right way though, where they like. I do think that they're kind of a good enemy in that they switched up how you would normally play it.
I don't think they changed the way I normally play it because that's how I kill bloaters too. Is I just throw fire at them until they're dead.
Yeah.
But the thing that makes them so hard is that they're so fast.
Yeah, they are.
They're fast and they explode when they die.
They're like a entry level bloater.
Yeah.
But there's more of them, so they can really wreck you.
I still hate the like smart runners that were the worst.
The stalkers.
The stalkers.
I have the most respect for the stalkers because they're a fellow hunter in a way.
Oh, anytime I have to deal with stalkers, it like stresses me out.
Oh, they're it's one of those enemies where they're not that hard to beat, so they're not just like a pain like bloaters, but they're also very scary, and I like those kinds of enemies.
Well, because they have groupthink. They're a pack.
Yeah.
Like, if you
they
screw
stalk
up...
you.
Yeah, if you screw up, they're going to come for you.
And they don't just come for you either. They wait for their moment, because they know that you can, like, kill them pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll make their presence, like, known, and then just run off.
Yeah, they draw you into ambushes.
Yep.
And the first time I played The Last of Us, I fell for it so much.
What's that, after with Sam and his brother, that, like, there's that boat that you find, and then you go down into, like, the sewers or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That was where there's all those stalkers in there.
It's all stalkers in there.
Yeah. That's what I always come back to.
Oh, it takes forever to get through there. I fell for the ambush, like, 2 or 3 times. Even after knowing what they were.
Yeah.
So... Congratulations, Naughty Dog. You made an enemy that really just ticks me off.
Why did I write down neck breaking / chokeouts?
Probably because Joel chokes people out in an accurate way to physics.
Right.
And neck breaking. Oh, because Abby breaks people's necks.
Abby breaks people's necks.
And it's like,
I need to play this game again.
There's no way she could actually put enough torque on somebody's neck with her bare hands. To snap a neck.
I was going to play the game again before we did this podcast, but I ran out of time, and I'm experiencing Mass Effect for the first time. Oh my gosh. I might have to redo my top 5 games or something, my top 3 even. But anyway, yeah, in the first game I noticed I was doing martial arts at the time, and so that like chokehold that Joel does on people, it's not a chokeout. Oh, the computer's lagging again. It's not a chokeout. It's a you pinch the like blood vessels, so it like cuts off oxygen from the brain, and you can actually kill people doing it. Can't.
Joel's murdery.
Yeah, it's almost like knocking someone on the back of the head. Is it going to kill them, or is it going to just knock them out? It's like a 50-50 kind of like, who knows?
Yeah, Joel is... It's a miracle nobody came and hunted down Joel and murdered him earlier in his life.
Well, yeah, we should talk about...
He does him a lot of killing.
We should talk about that, but it takes about 5 seconds to do, which in The Last of Us it takes about 5 seconds.
Sometimes it takes an eternity.
Dude, that's the difference between The Last of Us and a lot of games, though, is the combat feels so real, and not in a like kind of like simulator like way, but when you punch people, it doesn't feel like you're just like going it, like it feels like you're hurting yourself, which is how punches actually work. And then like, yeah, choking people out takes 5 seconds, which we're not used to in video games when you're like trying to stealth and everything. You just put on your suppressor and you...
Yeah, but it makes it more important that you grab them and get behind something.
Yeah, you've got to be
strategic. Because if you get saw, especially like in the hospital at the end of The Last of Us, or anytime you're dealing with like
so hard
actual people,
The Last of Us can be done like pretty stealthily throughout everything. Like the sections that you wouldn't think you could stealth through when you play it on grounded, the hardest difficulty, you actually have to like stealth a lot of stuff.
Tunnel.
I will say this though, on your first playthrough of The Last of Us, a thing that changed the game for me was playing it. I would play it where I would try to like stealth through everything and be like very meticulous with my actions and whatnot. And I stopped doing that, and I just played as like a survival game the way it's supposed to be. And
you gotta make some tactical retreats, and
I would do as much as I could to not get seen, but then I would never just give up or like reload a checkpoint. I would just fight my way through everything I could, and that completely changes how you play the game and see the game. It makes the immersion so much better. It's amazing.
Well, and if you play the game that way, like your decisions matter a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
because there's no take backsies.
Yeah, sometimes you're on your last shotgun shell, and you got to make a decision like,
yeah,
can I fight my way out of this, or do I have to shoot one and run?
Yeah. Going back to Joel surviving as long as he did. Man, I'm trying to think of like. Sorry, listeners, that this podcast is so all over the place. This is like true bear attack form of us just like shooting from the hip completely.
It's my specialty. I don't believe in notes.
Yeah, we're doing the podcast how you should play the game.
We're just surviving.
Just survive. I don't know where to start with like the themes of this game, but
Okay, well, I mean, are we talking about just Last of Us Part 2, or are we doing this like the Last of Us universe? The world. I guess not the universe. World. Do you think the fungus is across the universe? Like,
that's a really good question.
Did the aliens get it too?
No, I don't know. I don't think the aliens got it. But do you think like
alien clickers?
Did it just happen in the U.S. or is it worldwide? I'm sure the game.
There's questions.
I'm sure that the game says it. Probably says it in the opening of The Last of Us. But The Last of Us is like all that you ever really hear about.
It doesn't say it in the beginning.
Yeah,
because in the beginning, it's you, Joel. You're playing as Sarah.
Well, and it's all like about the U.S. and like the newsreel that plays during the opening credits is like about how the Fireflies want to bring back the branches of government and all that.
Yeah. Is it the whole world, or is the whole world watching the United States just like
eat shit?
So are the zombies?
It's the Russians, man.
Oh, they have are they a chemical warfare?
It's the Chinese-led South American Federation. Well, because that's where like the cordyceps is from, right? It's from South America.
I think so. But anyways, Joel. So we start off with Joel, and he's got his daughter, and he seems like a pretty good guy, just trying to make a living. And then his daughter dies. And he never really comes back from that.
No.
But he's with Tess, and nobody ever like says if they're like together or just like friends or whatever.
Okay, so Neil Druckmann, we're gonna talk. I have a degree in screenwriting.
He also has a thing for Tess.
I do have a thing for Tess. I think she's very attractive. So I just think we'll talk a lot about how The Last of Us is written, especially Part 2, because a lot of people talk about how terrible Part 2 is, and it's written very poorly. And I
disagree. It's so good.
I couldn't disagree more, and we'll get into that. But he does something really weird where he doesn't write backstories for his characters, and that's what you're taught in like film school to do. Is you need to like know how many siblings did they have growing up, what was their parents' life like,
because it matters to who they are as a person because the decisions they make.
Right, and it makes it easier to write well-rounded, developed characters because they have like this life. Neil Druckmann doesn't do that. He somehow is able to write characters that feel like they have all that backstory. And if you ask him like, are Joel and Tess together? How did they meet and everything? His answer for like all those questions is, I don't know. What do you think? It's like...
Oh, that frustrates me so much.
It's like the... what's another example in the first game where there was that? Just stuff like that. Like, did Bill used to, like, run missions with Joel and Tess and stuff? I don't know. What do you think? It's like... Was Joel, like, a slaver and everything? I don't know. What do you think? How do you write such well-developed characters without knowing what their backstory is? I don't get it.
I wouldn't think it was possible if I didn't hear this, but...
Well, and the thing is I think a lot of people would say they're not well-rounded, but they are. Like, you play the game and everything that they say and do feels like there's a reason for it.
And they change!
And they change, yeah.
They have development. Except Tess, she develops a disease and a bullet problem.
Well... But she does kind of change in a way where, like, once she realizes she's going to die, her goal is to, like, make her life mean something. Whereas she's been pretty selfish up until that point.
That's fair. No, that's fair. Okay.
And it's a subtle change, too. It's not like this about face where it's just, like, all of a sudden it's very subtle. Like, it's not on the nose at all.
It's such a subtle change that it just seems like she's looking out for Joel. It doesn't even really look like she's, like, trying to make something of her life, but...
Right. But that's what's happening, and the game doesn't hold your hand and spell any of that out for you.
Yeah. And Joel has to go through the loss of Tess, who's like seems like she's the only person that he deals with.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's the only interaction you see that's not a soldier in the first little part of it, and then she dies right after you see Sarah die.
Right. Well, and Joel's way of dealing with that is to just forget about her immediately. And he's like, no, don't talk about Tess. Don't ever bring her up again. She's gone. He moves on very quickly.
Oh yeah.
And
Ellie tries to talk about Tess, and he's like, nope, we don't talk about people we knew.
That's his coping mechanism. But by the end of the game, he's changed into a man who, has to fight for his relationships and won't let them go.
Mm-hmm.
For better or worse. Arguably for worse. Maybe. We can talk about that too, but
I have a lot of thoughts on that.
And that's a subtle change too. It's like that's a very dramatic change when you just say it like that, but it happens over the course of hours of gameplay.
Well, it all happens when he starts talking about Sarah to Ellie.
Mm-hmm. But that's a subtle change too. Like Ellie had to they had to have kind of a breakthrough to get to that point. It's very realistic.
And it all happens when Ellie gets kidnapped into the cannibal town. It's pretty much the point where it turns around for them.
Oh, the cannibal town, dude. That was where the game really it was like
that was so scary playing as that little girl fighting a grown ass man.
Because and Ellie plays different than Joel does. She's a little quicker, but she just cannot hold her own.
Because she's a 14-year-old girl.
Yeah, I love it.
But she has the switchblade, which is her only thing that levels the playing field at all.
Yeah. And then there's the horror of being eaten by this pedophile guy who seemed really nice at first.
As all pedophiles probably do.
Yeah. It's so good. It's horrible, but it's riveting.
I don't know. What do you think? Gosh. That frustrates.
David, the cannibal guy, he's voiced by Nolan North, who's Nathan Drake in the Uncharted games.
He also makes a cameo in the Uncharted movie.
He does. So at the end of The Last of Us, a lot of people argue that Joel is actually the villain of the game. For those of you who don't know, the rest of this podcast is just going to be spoilers. So at the end of The Last of Us, they need Ellie to make this supposed vaccine, and
they're the worst doctors to ever exist.
Yeah, no, there's a whole lot of stuff where it probably wouldn't have worked out, and doctors wouldn't do that, and all this stuff. But Joel doesn't know that.
Yeah, but the end of the game really falls on its face at that, where they're like, we have to kill her and dissect her brain. First off, no, you don't. Second off, she's way more valuable to you alive.
Yeah.
Running tests on her and using her like a lab rat isn't, humane, but it's probably what they would do.
Well, here's what I figure. I figure all the, really good doctors who should be doing this kind of work have probably died, and we're just working with, what we got. And they're desperate and making mistakes, like scientists often do. Mm-hmm. So I think it's easy for, someone on, Experts React to be like, oh, I would never do that with a patient and everything. But it's have you ever had to make a life-saving vaccine with
No, but neither have they, because they apparently don't know how.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying though, is they're probably just the people that the Fireflies could find. They're probably just what's left.
I'm so frustrated by it. And Joel is not the villain. Joel is a broken man who has this hole in his heart where he needs to be a father. And he found this girl and he is fathering the hell out of her.
That's the thing though, is even if Joel's completely wrong and they could have made a vaccine out of all that and everything, would you have done any different? Would you sacrifice your child to save the world?
No,
That's the
absolutely
real question.
not. If they could have taken a straight path from Boston to Utah, I have no doubt in my mind Joel would have just walked off.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Called her a day and been like, I delivered the cargo, I'm going back to Boston, and I'm going to kill as many people as I can on the way there.
Yeah.
But because of the adventure they had and how close they got, he, adopted her.
She saved his humanity in a lot of ways.
Ellie saved Joel as much as Joel saved Ellie.
100%.
Based.
So, The problem with that, and here's where The Last of Us 2 comes in, is the game actually gives you an option to kill all the doctors in the room or to not.
Mm-hmm.
Most people, at that point, you're just seeing red because you had to fight a lot of people with fully automatic rifles to get into that room. And you just are like, get out of my way.
Wait,
And
is there an option to...
you don't have to kill them at all. You can just grab Ellie and walk out.
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't carry over into the second game.
The canon thing that happens is Joel just killed all of them.
Oh, okay. Because like in Mass Effect, the Mass Effect 2, the decisions you make in Mass Effect carry over
Correct.
to Mass Effect
Yeah,
2.
The Last of Us is not that.
I was just wondering, if, like, is there an option where you don't murder all the doctors?
No,
and The Last of Us 2 is totally different?
The Last of Us has its story that it's telling, and you just get to play through it. You don't get to...
Okay.
You don't have that much agency.
I thought you were about to, like, blow my mind.
Oh, yeah, no, it's like the
And I
second
was
game
gonna have
just
to-
doesn't have Abby in it at all if you do it the other way.
Yeah. The second one is just them on a vacation at the dinosaur
Exactly.
exhibit.
Oh, I loved that part. Oh, it was so fun. Some people...
We'll get there. Okay, so, the doctors. Kill them, don't kill them. You probably kill them.
You kill them.
You absolutely murder those morons.
But the problem is the one doctor was a really good guy, like just super sweet, and he was this devoted dad. And
He just decided to try to medically kill the wrong girl.
and that's the problem is he was this girl's father, and she loved him very much. And much like Joel, she's decided that she's going to get her what's hers.
So, wait. Do you think at this point that Joel has just been lucky enough to just murder scumbags that nobody actually cares about? Or has he, like, killed somebody's son and they're like, I'm gonna get him, and they just haven't done it yet?
Well, it does kind of seem like... It seems like all the innocents that Joel's killed, he's wiped out their entire family. From, like, his times being, like... Hey, dogs, would you not?
Guys, we're trying to do something here.
We're trying to podcast here.
Yeah, your opinions aren't as important as ours.
They probably... I mean, there's probably people listening to this that are like, oh, there's dogs.
And they're adorable.
They are.
I don't want to tell you their names because I don't want you to call them. Because Marshall likes to put people's body parts in his mouth. And it could be taken wrongly.
That's horrible.
Because he doesn't bite, he just, like, he wants to hold your hand.
Anyway.
Jesse's a nipper.
I guess the answer to your question, Sam, is I don't know. What do you think?
I hate this so much. I think you need to go take another writing class, Neil Druckmann.
No, I disagree, because then it's like...
His talent, that makes his talent for writing these characters very impressive.
Well, and it makes it so that anything that happens can be interpreted, like, very openly, too.
So, that means he's writing his characters not based on characters. He's writing his characters based on archetypes.
Yeah, probably.
And just, like, mixing archetypes together.
Probably.
Which makes sense, because The Last of Us is basically a Western.
Yeah. But so this girl, Abby, Joel killed her dad, and she decides that Joel needs to pay.
In the least brutal murder that Joel has ever committed.
Yeah, fair.
Because he just shoots him.
Well, but
Joel has killed some people in some creative ways.
Right. But now, so, okay, let's pretend, and this is where people are like, oh yeah, it just shits all over its main characters and makes you try to empathize with its villains and stuff. Abby's not a villain. If you think about it this way, pretend you don't know who Joel is. You have this friend, Abby. She's a pretty cool girl, kind of bright. Her dad is like, everyone loves her dad.
Uh-huh.
Like, regardless what your feelings of Abby
Her
are.
boyfriend loves her dad more than her.
Her dad's the best.
Uh-huh.
He's the...
Objectively the best.
Mr. Smith, I can't remember his last name. He is the coolest dad on the block. He's the guy who's barbecuing for everyone. He's gonna come pick you up if you're drunk and not tell your parents.
Mm-hmm.
He is the guy. And then someone kills him. He's like a pillar of your community. Are you not gonna go kill that guy?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Well,
let's be real.
In The Last of Us Part 2, Abby's in. Abby is gonna put Joel's head on a pike and carry it with her as a trophy if she can.
Yeah.
But the rest of them are like, we've come all the way here from Utah, and we are in this blizzard in Wyoming. It's killing us. We're going back. Like, they all kind of give up on the mission, and Abby's like, I'm gonna get him. And Abby's ready to just, like, storm Jackson by herself if it means getting Joel, who she doesn't even know what Joel looks like, if I remember right.
Yeah, that sounds about like.
She just
this
knows his name.
This has been like a several year like thing for her, hunting this guy.
Yeah, she doesn't know what Joel looks like. She just knows Joel's name.
But there's Fireflies who who knew him and stuff.
Yeah, but she doesn't even like. Okay, so Joel stands out. He's a pretty messed up looking dude. He's got scars and stuff all over him. I think if somebody was like, so Joel, first off, his name is Joel. Secondly, salt and pepper hair, usually has a beard, scarred to shit.
Yeah.
I think you'd recognize him around
There's probably like people who knew him who, as like Marlene's friends and stuff. But anyway, regardless. So I think people like they just didn't want to see the story from Abby's perspective, and so to cut to the chase, the whole point of the game is how corrosive revenge is, and how there's not really a right or wrong side to a lot of our fights. There's just different perspectives, and they're equally valid. And it sucks because the people trying to take revenge are totally in the right, but the people who, it's a vicious cycle where then you get your revenge and then someone else is in the right to take their revenge on you. There's really no good way to go about it, and the fighting just has to stop when people agree to just let it go. But how do you do that when when you're in that much pain?
It teaches the lesson about revenge in the most Last of Us way possible. It is brutal what it does to both of these women.
Well, and it came out during the like BLM riots and all that stuff, so it was just like I was like, wow, this is the game that like the world needs right now, because it shows it understands us and our frustrations, and but it also shows what happens when we give in to them. And it doesn't say you just need to do better, Mr. Senator, the way like Captain America and the Winter Soldier did. Not the movie, the TV show, because they changed it to Captain America and the Winter Soldier at the end of it, so it's Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but it messed with my head in a weird way. But so The Last of Us doesn't preach to you like that. It's just like, hey, I see you're hurt, and this is what happens if you give into it, but I understand if that's the choice you take, because it's almost impossible not to.
Yeah, but it shows you like there's consequences for your actions.
This is what's gonna happen.
Like, Abby gets thrown in a full-on prison and like slaved and almost killed, and she loses not the trans kid, but his whole family dies.
Yeah,
but she saves him right in the end, throws him in the boat.
Yeah,
and then Ellie loses. She gets back to Wyoming or Jackson with Dina, and they're living their happy lives. And then Tommy, who's all consumed by it but can't go anymore, like guilts her into it.
Yeah.
Like she is ready to just like let it go, and Tommy's just like, you promised me.
Yep.
And Ellie ends up paying the ultimate price for it.
She does.
She not only loses digits, which is a terrible reminder, and she's lost half the strength in her left hand, but she also loses Dina over it.
Yeah. Maybe.
Probably. Pretty strong likelihood, because Dina straight up said, if you go now.
Well, so here's the thing with the way it ends. A lot of people are like, oh, it just ends so depressing.
I think it ends on hope.
I think it ends on hope, where now Ellie's still alive. She's lost her whole world, but she has a chance to start fresh. And
she's gotten through it, and she made, I think, the best choice of the two.
Yes.
Because if she killed Abby, and what's-his-name gets away, what's-his-name's going to come after her, and it's going to still repeat the cycle, but they both just walked away from it, and I think that's the best they could have ended.
They buried the hatchet, and it was at great expense to both of them.
Yes.
But it saved their lives.
Because Abby lost her whole world, too.
Yeah.
Because Ellie came back for revenge and killed everyone. Like
a double homicide. On one of them.
The scene where you have to fight Ellie as Abby.
Oh my god!
One of the hardest fights I never realized how hard it is to fight me.
Well, because Abby, it's horrifying. It's like that's the cannibal part of The Last of Us 2, is because Abby's so much stronger and she's like this warrior, and you're like, oh yeah, she could kill Ellie super easy, and you don't realize, because you've been playing the world through Ellie's like eyes, how absolutely psychotic Ellie is. When you have to go up against her and fight her, it's like she's small and scrappy, but she is savage, and she'll like use anything to her advantage.
She has no mercy, and she's fast, she's sneaky, and she's smart.
Yeah.
And like,
but that no mercy part is really kind of what
the no mercy words really comes through. But like, she'll like lay traps that are like almost guaranteed to hit her too, and like, it's so hard fighting Ellie.
Yeah, she's
not even emotionally. Like, by the time you've played Abby long enough to get to that part you fight out Ellie, you also want to kill Ellie.
Yeah, and I think people say it's bad writing to like pull people between two characters like that. I think it just shows that they're both not as evil, and also so much worse than they think they are.
I think that the way that The Last of Us Part 2 is set up is genius.
I love it.
Because it's not separating you between two characters. Like you're saying, it's so you can see both points of the story.
Both sides, yeah, both viewpoints.
But also, it's such good immersion that when you're Ellie, like, you want to string Abby up from the rafters.
Oh, 100%.
But then when you're Ellie, or when you're Abby fighting against, or trying to find Ellie, like, you want to tear her in half.
Yeah.
Like, by the time you, like, because you lose friends on both sides all the way through.
Yeah.
Or, like, in Ellie's case, you put her girlfriend, who's pregnant with her best friend's child, very complicated, in danger. And Abby, you killed, like, you killed her whole world.
Well, so it's all so heavy, and if it sounds like it, okay, so the whole fun thing, I think it's a blast to play. I had the time of my life. I will say though, if you're looking for like something lighthearted to wind down after work, or a relaxing video game, this is not that.
This is The Last of Us is a game you sit down, you take a shift.
It is a study in humanity.
Yeah,
it's a game about it's clinical psychology simulator.
It is the dark side of the world with, I hate calling them zombies because they're not zombies.
But they're zombies.
Well, they're zombies in, like, the basest way.
Yeah.
But they're
the best version of zombies that the world has ever been given.
I think so. Because they're... Okay, let's talk about these Last of Us zombies.
Okay.
There's so many variants.
I wanted to talk about tits, but we can get to that.
Can we talk about this and then tits?
Yeah. Well,
I'd like to get this out of the way.
I have the segue all set up.
Perfect.
I know where we're going.
So, they evolve. They are runners, they are stalkers, then they become clickers, and if you survive long enough as a clicker, you become... In the first one, you become a bloater, but in the second, you become the Ravengers or whatever.
Is that what they're called?
I don't know. I can't Google anything out here in the woods.
Yeah, we're off the grid.
The like
glamping.
The fast bloaters, and then
I'm out of Red Bull and I'm sad.
I'm trying to like savor it.
I know.
Savor the flavor.
When I can't hold my pee anymore is when the podcast is gonna end because we gotta go. Sam's wife and family want to go on a razor ride. So.
Oh, dude, they left us.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Amy took Mom and Aunt Shelly on a ride.
No sleep till Brooklyn.
That's right.
Or Boston in the case of The Last of Us.
But these stupid zombies are so incredibly made. They're actually scary, even though they're just video games.
Oh, yeah.
But fighting them, you get so used to fighting them that fighting humans becomes so much harder.
Yeah.
It's so much worse.
Well, every good zombie thing, the zombies aren't the real threat.
They're like an obstacle.
Because people will make the wrong decisions. You know, that evil and like trying to screw each other over really is counterproductive to the survival of everyone.
Yep. And yet.
Case in point with Joel. But also you can't fault him for it, because what else is the guy supposed to do? But, I love... Sorry, this is a tangent, but Ellie and Joel's flashbacks in The Last of Us 2, where it's you get a kind of nice redemptive arc through it, because at the start of the game, they're on the outs. And then...
Yeah, Ellie's so pissed off at him.
And he dies, and it's so sad.
But she's pissed off at him for him doing a good thing for her.
Yeah. Well, Ellie's not a perfect person either.
I know, she's an angsty kid still, but...
She's only 19 in the second game.
I know, but still, like, it frustrates me, knowing what's coming and seeing that.
And that's part of why she can't let Abby go, is because I think she recognizes that, and she can't, like, just own it.
Well, she came to peace with it and was going to go talk to Joel and, like, make amends for it, and then...
And that chance got robbed.
And then Abby brutally kills Joel in front of her with a golf club.
So rough.
Oh, and then they show it. I think showing the impact is the worst part.
It's horrible.
Oh.
And that's what makes it good. And the game takes no mercy on you.
And you're in Joel's head seeing the lights go out as he's looking at Ellie.
It's like, oh, you love these people? Well, no one told Abby that.
I mean, somebody might have told Abby, but Abby doesn't care. She knows.
No, I think that The Last of Us, it doesn't give into fan service, and I actually really like that, because that's not what the game is. It's a game about real life.
Yeah. Well, it's set up as like, this person has a mission, and they gonna do it.
Yeah.
The Last of Us is a game of doers.
And if you're going to war with someone, you think if you stop and tell that person, like, oh, hey, I actually love these people, they're gonna give a shit?
I mean, maybe worth a shot.
The
answer is probably not. But...
If you can't kill them first, it might be worth trying. But that's the thing. Being the good guy will cost you your life, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't give it, but that's something that you've got to understand.
Yeah, well, I mean, being the bad guy will cost your life too, just differently.
Just in a different way.
You might not be dead, but you got to live with that now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
which
it's true.
Playing as Joel, you get that a lot. Joel is living with some stuff.
Right. Oh, we've lost the plot. What were we talking about with the zombies?
Well, I think we've talked about the zombies. I think we were going to talk about the plot now.
So, no, tits. Oh, the plot, yes.
The plot.
We'll cut that out now.
You know, Nate. Plot.
The zombies
the boobs.
The zombies are naked in this one.
Not even a sports bra. Must be very uncomfortable.
I know. Well, I don't know. It depends on who you ask, I suppose. But there's a couple tits in this game. I really dislike the sex scene between Abby and Owen.
It is so uncomfortable.
I could have done without that. That is the one time where the game made me uncomfortable, and I was like, I don't appreciate this. This ain't it.
Yeah. Well, first off, Abby's built like a man. Like, she's a gorilla with a pretty face.
So can I tell you what I first noticed about Abby?
Uh-huh.
So Abby, the first time you see her, she wakes up in this like chateau, and they're all in their long johns in their sleeping bags because there's a blizzard outside and whatnot and everything. And I was like, she's definitely a woman. She has the face of a woman, but why did they animate her chest so flat? There's like, were they just trying to be really realistic? Like, this girl has like negative A cups.
No, she just has pecs.
She's got like pecs with like womanly nipples.
Yeah,
like a thing, but
she is a gorilla with a woman's face.
There's like no boob to it, and I was like, that is so weird. And then in flashbacks, her boobs seem much more like, it's like a decent, like normal kind of ish looking breast. And then
because once her dad died, she went into full training.
As the game went on, I realized it was a character thing. She literally, when her dad died, she decided she was going to go to war and fight anyone who would hurt her, especially Joel, and she was going to do anything it took to be able to accomplish that mission. And she literally benched her tits off. And I think it's the most mind-blowing attention to detail I've ever seen. Where like Neil Druckmann or whoever came up with it, like credit to, I don't know, whoever did it. I don't want to take the time to look it up, like Google that.
It would take us an hour out here.
Crap, but yeah. Well, it might take longer than that. But I think it's crazy attention to detail. They just went, what happens when a woman gets too ripped?
So jacked.
Where she literally, because that much testosterone actually, like, because when you work out, it increases your testosterone, and I'm pretty sure Abby's probably made herself infertile. Probably. That's probably what, like, realistically, And they did the research to like know that and animate her accordingly.
Gosh, just the sex scene between her and Owen is like...
Oh, it's horrible.
Ugh.
I can't even think of like a good reason for like... I mean, it's definitely believably something that would happen in their like screwed up relationship.
Uh-huh.
But just why we had to see it is a little bit beyond me. Where like everything else horrible we see is like to be like, yeah, this is the consequences of living in this world.
It's the consequences of her terrible choices.
Yeah. Whereas this one's just like, it just feels like I'm being punished now.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like no fun for anyone involved.
So there's a conspiracy that some people think Owen looks like Neil Druckmann. They're blind, but
Okay.
it's a vaguely white dude with a beard, except for Neil Druckmann's like I think Lebanese or Israeli. He grew up in the Middle East.
Exciting.
He has an accent and everything. But I don't know. I don't see the resemblance at all. But they said that it was like he wanted to like put himself in like that scene with like and there was like a conspiracy that he did the motion capture for Owen, and none of it's true. Y'all crazy. But I don't know why it was in there.
Just, the sex scene's so uncomfortable. I hate it so much.
I would rather watch. Well, let's talk about Dina. You don't like Dina, huh?
Gosh, I think Dina is the worst thing to happen to Ellie ever.
Really?
Not because she's a bad person.
I think she's so sweet.
She is overly supportive. She needs to take some hands off.
That's fair.
Like...
Which she kind of does at the end of the game.
Oh, thank God. Yay.
A little late.
Jeez, after Ellie had to, like... Okay. The game could have gone so much differently. Like, we could have gotten to a different and probably better conclusion so much faster if Dina would have been like, shit, I missed my period. I should check this out before I go traveling to Portland.
You should just not travel to Portland.
That's also true. But...
before the apocalypse, like pre-apocalypse.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I'm gonna turn our gain down just a little bit. We're
yelling.
we're hitting some levels there.
Okay. Oh, it's just I'm so frustrated with her, cause like they're on this patrol, they're having their lesbian moment, and they're like, "Yay, we love each other, we're gay," and then you go out, you like take the macro back out, and they go after this revenge mission, and I get that she is supporting the love of her life or whatever. But you live in a post-apocalyptic world where everything, including the elements, are trying to kill you. And you are going out when you suspect you might be in the most fragile condition you will ever find as a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not a knock on women or anything, but when you're pregnant, you're a little vulnerable.
It's just not a great plan.
Yeah, because she's sick. She can't move very well. And Ellie has to, like, take care of her. When I've heard people like be like, Ellie shouldn't be mad at her. No, Ellie should be mad. Ellie should be way more angry at her.
To be fair, she's pretty early along.
Yeah, but she's still already sick.
Yeah.
She already can't move well. And in this horrifying world that they live in, like, if you had a stubbed toe and a weird limp for like an hour, your odds of dying are so much higher.
They don't have any access to like we take for granted a lot of medical stuff.
Yeah.
Just like refrigeration, like dude, if the power grid goes out, I have friends who are dying because their insulin's gonna go bad. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Every time they step in water in that game stresses me out beyond belief.
They're in their like Vans and Converse shoes. Like,
yeah, everything I know about survival.
Grass.
There's two big rules in survival. The first is shelter and fire. The second is you do not walk through water.
Yeah.
Well, even if your boots are waterproof, you avoid it because if your feet get ruined, you are screwed.
They swim through things. Just fully clothed.
I know.
Yeah.
But anyways, Dina, I get it.
Dude, what are 19-year-old bisexuals supposed to do?
She just frustrates the crap out of me, and then she leaves Ellie at the end. And I get why she did it. You got to have the line that you like. This is too much, but like, bro, you nurtured her to this.
Do you think that she would take if Ellie goes and finds her, and Ellie's like, "Hey, I've changed. I've let it all go." Do you think she'll take Ellie back?
No. And if she does, she's the dumbest dum-dum to ever be stupid.
I love Ellie though.
I also love Ellie.
I want her to take Ellie back, just because I want Ellie to be happy. I don't even support their lifestyle. Like, I'm a bigot, okay?
I don't... Okay.
Speaking...
As much as I hate Dina, if she took Ellie back, I would hate her so much more.
Interesting.
Because Ellie straight up has, broken her trust.
This is the thing that this game does, and I think everyone who didn't like it just didn't want to wrestle with this kind of stuff. Because I disagree completely, but I totally understand where you're coming from. I think your position is much more rational than mine is. I just like them.
I mean, I don't dislike Dina as a person, like her personality.
Oh, she's the best. Except for Jessie. I mean, Jessie's the real one.
Yeah, Jessie's dope.
Jessie's awesome.
Jesse's
Dina's crazy.
Jessie's the best of Jackson.
As much as I love Ellie, Dina, what you doing? Jesse's the dude.
Yeah. But I like Dina as a person.
Oh, they just kill him too. He just takes one to the face in a cutscene, like, without any warning.
Yeah, they just kill him.
They just gack him.
Because this world they live in sucks. And if you are sick or think that you might be vulnerable, you should stay in your stupid town with electricity where there's a doctor.
I love it when movies do that, where someone just dies realistically.
Oh my gosh.
Here's a spoiler for... Skip ahead, hit that 15-second button or whatever it is. Triple Frontier, the Netflix movie, Ben Affleck's character, he's like one of their like team leader or whatever, and like 2/3 of the way through the movie, there's like no firefight, nothing. They're just walking, and just boom, round goes through his head, and that's it. He's gone. I think it's so well because it's like it's not Hollywood. There's not like the score and all the music and everyone like no, stay with me. He's like, tell my wife I loved her.
Nope, he's dead. You go to like, where did that come from? We gotta find some cover.
Yep.
Okay.
What do we do with the body?
I'll tell you this though. The thing I like about The Last of Us the most is that it follows my rule of movies. It shows me some bodies.
Mm-hmm.
I will not accept that things are dead in a movie or a video game until I see the body not moving.
Yeah.
At any point, so like, if somebody like a plane crash happens, but they don't show you a shoot with somebody dead hanging from it, or like you don't live their last moment with them, I assume they're fine. They might be a little beat up, but they're fine.
I hate how in movies it's like the surest way to survive is to like die in an explosion or fall off of a ledge, preferably both at the same time.
Oh, absolutely.
There is no way. People do not come back from that kind of stuff ever for any reason.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just saw a movie recently where there's like they're in a jet fighter and their jet fighter like loses its engines, and they don't eject or anything. Like they can't get the ejectors handle out or whatever, and then the plane just like into the side of a hill. And I was like, they're fine. And he's like, they're not fine. They just died in that fire explosion. I'm like, they're fine.
They're fine.
And the next scene, the main character walks in. He's like, they're gonna be fine. They're just staying overnight in the hospital. They ejected fine. I'm like, well, there you go. You gotta show me a body or they are fine.
Something people don't realize about explosions is even if there's no like rocks or shrapnel or bits in it that would like
the shockwave
tear you apart, the shockwave, there's a lot of pressure in it and it like causes your brain to hemorrhage.
Yeah. It'll like make scrambled eggs out of your guts.
Yeah. It just causes internal damage.
That's the true danger of explosions. It's not the shit that flies around. That's just insurance.
Yeah. True. We were talking about Dina. Oh, I do want to address, like, because the people I follow, I really like the Critical Drinker. His review on The Last of Us Part 2 is pretty alright. It's it's the best, not super positive, like, give the game a BJ review I've seen. And I honestly can't watch negative reviews about this game because they get me so angry because people just really don't understand what the game is.
All riled up with no outlet.
But so a lot of people, they're kind of like, oh, there's like a whole bunch of forced like wokeness in it, and I don't feel like the game's that way at all. I think the game's like true to life. Like, there's lesbians in real life. There's trans kids in real life. I mean, if you're in the apocalypse, I seriously doubt anyone would have the time to like question their identity in that way. You know what I mean?
I don't know, because the trans character lives on an island separated from the mainland where they don't have...
He's basically just a
like,
native, an aboriginal.
Yeah, like, his culture would have time to, like, think about things.
That's
because
true.
they have such warning about things coming to fight them, except for the people that come and murder them.
And I guess he doesn't know what he's lost. He never had any, like, first world problems to begin with. But I also feel like it's a first world problem. Like, I know that they had, like, people who didn't quite fit the mold and, like the Navajos or whatever and whatnot, but I don't think it was a thing like people want to make it out to be. It's just like, no, that dude just wore dresses. But like when Lev hits puberty, there's no estrogen or testosterone shots that he can get. He's gonna have boobs and whatnot, but anyway, but the game doesn't hit you over the head with it either. Like this,
they're like, Lev is a he, and you say, whatever.
All right, whatever.
Whatever, I have more important things to do, like surviving this stupid game.
And that's what the game does. It doesn't try to drive its message home. Like, it doesn't... There's, like... I think it's really interesting. Ellie... There's a guy who does something kind of bigoted towards Ellie at the beginning of the game. And it's almost a foreshadowing. She doesn't forgive the guy. Like, he actually mans up. He's embarrassed about it, but he brings her a peace offering, tries to apologize, and she just not even shrugs it off. She like insults him.
Yeah, Ellie has forgiveness issues,
and I love that. It's because I think that if it was like a woke like thing, it'd be like. Maybe she would do the same thing, but it wouldn't be painted in like a negative way. It'd be like, yeah, you slay queen, show that asshole who he is.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a bad thing because all the rest of the characters are like,
Ellie, let's move on. We're all trying to make amends here and be a team.
Yeah, it's us against the rest of the world. We are all we have.
Yeah. Here's a few notes that I like. There's hope all throughout the second game. Ellie just doesn't care to see it.
That's true.
I love that Ellie isn't a feminist lesbian girl boss stereotype. I love that Abby isn't a girl boss dyke. Sorry. So yeah, hopefully people left.
Alternative lifestyle
pliers, excuse me. Because for those of you who don't know, there's pliers called dykes. They're, I assume, named after some dude that invented them.
They're diagonal side cutting pliers. So dykes is the shortened version of diagonal.
Oh.
Diagonal cutting
pliers.
Dykes.
Okay. Gotcha. If you think a character does something that's against their nature, then you don't understand them. They're very well developed. Almost nothing they did surprised me. The twist is what Naughty Dog made me do. Interesting.
Does that make you the villain? Are we the villain?
Are we... The secret was we were the villain's true friendship all along.
We were the journey the whole time.
It's easy to miss things on your first run-through.
Oh, let me explain what I meant in the beginning when I said I'm on like my third.
Mm-hmm.
So I played the game all the way through, and then my friend Ollie said, hey, you have enough to buy all the cheats. So I turned on one-shot kills, unlimited ammo. I turned on a bunch of cheats, basically. And so I was doing a playthrough where I can't hide, and I can't listen for enemies. All I can do is walk into a situation and hope I don't get killed. And it's not on ground, it's whatever it's hardened. So the one right down.
There's like hard, it goes like easy, normal, hard, survivor, and grounded.
So whatever the level is where you can still use cheats, because grounded you can't use cheats.
Right.
So whatever that...
Probably hard or survivor. I doubt it'd be on survivor, though.
Whatever the hardest one is where you can still use cheats, I'm on that one. and it's so hard to play it as an FPS.
Oh, someone was saying there's a lot of characters that don't matter, and that's because they die. Every character has a purpose.
Even the characters that we don't know their names, but they die on the not the wolves,
yeah.
Who are the ones that whistle?
Oh, the Seraphites.
The Seraphites. Even the characters we don't know their names, we don't even know what they look like really. All the Seraphites matter.
Dude, all of their whistles like actually mean something too. You can learn what their whistles mean.
Uh-huh. But if you don't learn what their whistles means, it's just stressful.
It's just terrifying. You hear a whistle and you're like, I know I'm about to get hit with an arrow, I just don't know where from.
Yeah. If they're whistling, you're like, in the tall grass, down!
Neil says that they kill characters unceremoniously because that's how it happens in life. It doesn't mean that we're pointless.
I agree with that. I think the dramatic killing of people is stupid. Like, I don't like monologuing before deaths. Like, I want my last words to be something like, do we have any ketchup? Because if you... the only people that get last words that matter are people that knew they were walking to their death. Like, normal people, your last words are, bye, I'll see you when I get home.
Ugh, that's terrible. That makes me so sad.
Yeah. Those are the two things I want out of my death. I don't want to see it coming, and I want to die with my boots on.
I want to die in my sleep old and happy.
It's a miracle I've made it this close to 30.
Oh, dude, I had flashbacks this morning. It doesn't happen very often, but like, yeah, this morning the first thing I was back in the lake yelling at Jeffrey to swim for his life with the little dog, and I was cold. I fell into a... I have videos of all of it, and I keep saying that I'm going to put it out, but it's just so hard for me to watch.
Traumatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
Like, I'm not going to go running around saying I had PTSD or anything, but I do get flashbacks from time to time.
Every once in a while, I can remember snippets of when I was laying after my big motorcycle wreck, of my, like, left leg being longer than my right, and the stick and a piece of tree sticking out of me.
It's a bad feeling.
Yeah. That is one of 2 times in my life I thought I was going to actually, like, that was it.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
But yeah, so I don't want to see it coming, and I want to have my boots on.
Well, Sam, we have touched on so much that I hadn't planned, and nothing that I did.
And we've touched the hearts of the masses.
I hope so. This is not at all kind of the podcast I wanted to do, but it's the one that you got. And I had fun. Maybe it will be good. What do you think? How do you feel?
I feel pretty good. I think I've said all the things I wanted to say. I mostly got it out there that Dina sucks.
I love
She's
her.
fine. She's fine. She's fine. She just made a bad decision for love.
I love the game. It is one of those things. You know, love is a choice. It's not an emotion. You choose to love something. And loving... Everyone says love is love. That means nothing. Let me define love for you. Love is the tension between acceptance and alteration. If you completely accept someone from who they are, you're not loving them because you're going to enable them, like Dina does to Ellie, to do things that are hurtful to them. If you're always trying to change them, you don't love them because you want them to be something that they're not.
Agreed.
So love is very uncomfortable. You've got to fight between the way you want people to be and the way that they are, and also helping them not just be the way that they are, because no one should be the way they are, because we're not all that great. And it's rough.
Based.
And The Last of Us 2 is rough. It is a story about hate, and The Last of Us as a whole is a story about love and hate. And it's beautiful. It's real life.
But also fantasy.
But also fantasy and fun to play, I think. Anyway, we don't have it. We've been trying to do reviews. I keep forgetting to do them. We don't have any. If you hate us and want to talk about how bigoted we are
give us 5 stars and tell us we suck, because
Yep.
the 5 stars will make it seen faster.
Yep. We'll read any comments you have if you give it 5 stars. If you don't think we've deserved 5 stars, give us 5 stars and tell us why not. But also, if we helped cure your erectile dysfunction through this podcast, leave us 5 stars and so your friends can know.
Probably not, since we described Abby's boobs. Lack thereof.
True.
She's more fit than Owen. That's the problem.
Yep.
Like, she looks more manly than Owen does.
Oh, her. So I remember everyone going, her arms are so big, and I was like, yeah, for a girl. And I've been lifting lately and everything. No, her arms are just so big.
Yeah, she's freaking yoked.
She is yoked to the max.
Yeah.
Absolutely buff. She has all of the strength stats.
She rolled high in strength.
Yeah. What else do it? Well, what are you loving, dude?
I'm loving this trip.
This has been a good trip.
Glad we made it.
This was
It was frustrating getting here, but I'm glad we made it.
It really was. For all of us, for different reasons, because we didn't come together. I'm loving the Red Bull Summer Edition. I really like it.
I want to go back to peach.
Fair.
I think what throws me off is I don't know what an apricot tastes like. Separately. I've never
Really.
In my life experience, apricot is just the color in crayons you use for white people.
I think that it's a little orange, but I don't.
So are white people.
I don't like fruit, so
Bigot.
I think that it's okay. I think if you like fruit, you might like apricot.
I'll try anything twice except meth.
Yep. All right. Well, I got nothing else to say. Happy Pride Month, everyone. Freaking queers. Are we? Did we just kill our podcast?
The only thing comes from Texas is steers and queers. I ain't see no horns on you.